Hello and welcome to the Daily Forex Report for February 14th. We are looking at the US-Japanese yen pair. This pair surged to the upside, a very large range day, at least compared to the ranges we have been having. Broke to the upside. We are looking for this pair to potentially go as high as 79.27, possibly down to 77.11. Look for some resistance around 78.75. And look for some support around 77.75. Now the Euro-USD pair, this pair pulled back during today's session and hit a trend line. We'll talk about that here in a minute. And pulled back a little bit prior to the close. We are looking for this pair to potentially go as high as 132.89 in this next session, possibly down to 130,000. Look for some resistance around 132.15 and look for some support around 130.75. Now the pound US dollar pair, this pair is pulled back a little bit stronger than the euro, is moving so far to the downside, definitely pulling back. Look for it to potentially go as high though as 158.35, possibly down to 155.75. Look for some resistance around 157.75 and look for some support at 156.25. Now the US Swiss, this pair is moving sideways, closed higher, went right up to previous areas of resistance and pulled back to close lower. We are looking for it to potentially go as high as 0.9285, possibly down to 0.9087. Look for some resistance around 0.9230 and look for some support around 0.9115. Now, as far as news announcements go, we have actually a lot of news announcements going into this next session. At 2 a.m. Eastern, we have the German gross domestic product being released. Of course, that will affect the euro for the fourth quarter. Consensus on that one is that it has moved lower from 2.6% down to 2.0%. We also have at 4:30 a.m. Eastern, we have the pound releasing their jobless claims change for January. They're showing an increase from 1.2K up to 3.0K. Then the Eurozone has the gross domestic product for the fourth quarter being released at 5 a.m. Eastern. Consensus on that is that it has dropped on from the fourth quarter from the previous, or what actually we have a consensus that it's going to drop. Previous was 0.2% to a negative 0.4% is what is projected. Now, year to date, they're showing a decrease as well from 1.4%, possibly down to 0.7%. We have the Bank of England releasing their inflation report at 5:30 a.m. Eastern. Keep an eye on that. Definitely can move the market. As well as at 2 a.m., the Fed releasing the minutes from their meeting, their FOMC meeting back in January 24 and 25th. Now, the numbers have already been released, so most likely that shouldn't affect the market too much. Then we have at 7:30 a.m. or p.m. Eastern, we have the Australian employment change for January, as well as the unemployment rate. The employment change is showing an increase from a negative 29.3K up to 10K. Unemployment rate is showing an increase as well from 5.2% to 5.3% unemployment rate for the Australians. Now, what am I looking for during this next session? Well, let's go over to the euro, take a look at this. Typically, I like to look at longer than just two periods here. We got a month and a little bit longer than a month. When I'm looking for trend lines, we definitely have 3 points here. We have 1, 2, 3, 3 points, but not a whole lot of time. So if this occurs, if you do see a trend line on a higher time frame, but it doesn't really have the time that you'd like to see in that, what you can do is back out a little bit further or drop down a time frame and then take a look at it again. Dropping down to the hour time frame now, and here we have several different time frames. Let's go back up to the 4 hour. Take a little bit Get a little bit closer in on that. So now we have an area that we can see kind of what happened. The market moved higher, pulled back, you know, gap down, pulled back, filled that gap, pulled back down, tagged this low. You can see we have a fairly strong area of support there, moved higher, came back, dipped again, hit previous areas of support, 1, 2, 3, 4, then moved higher again, and now has come back down and has hit a low, but then has bounced back up. Now if we tag that low, you can see that we have some other areas that it has found support, similar support with. Let me draw a horizontal line here and we can get a little bit better feel for it. So we have support, 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 and support found at that level. A little bit of resistance, which is now support. So it's come down. We have a trend line. What I'm looking for basically is if this breaks through and continues lower, that we'll hit this next area right here of support. We've hit it once and a couple times right there. You can see it was resistance in this area until it broke through it. So this is going to be our next area of support. Looking to short at 130.79 and looking to exit that trade at 130.28. So from a risk to reward standpoint, we got roughly about 50 pips worth of movement. And you could use a risk to reward of 1 to 1. And that should be plenty of room for this trade. I hope that helps, and until next time, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.